Hey babies, welcome back to another Dredge video, and today we're playing in the first ever Pure Modern tournament run by d00mwake's. Pure Modern is exactly the same as the regular Modern ban list, but you're also not allowed to play any Modern Horizons 1 or 2 cards. So in theory, a lot of the shenanigans that have been running the format over the past couple of years aren't going to be there, but I suspect the lack of free interactive spells is going to make decks like Belcher, Oops All Spells, and this one, Dredge, very dominant. But I also suspect a lot of people are going to be playing tournament decks from a few years ago that they're nostalgic about. So hopefully they're going to be light on graveyard hate and we can take advantage of that. Let's get into the games. Alright, round 1 in the Pure Modern event, and holy shit, I don't think I've ever seen an 18 land deck draw like this, so we're going to mulligan. We're playing open deck list, so my opponent knows that I'm playing Dredge, and I know that they're playing green Tron. This hand's also not going to work since we don't have any cathartic effects. So let's mulligan. They have 2 relics in their main deck, I know that. Alright, this hand's reasonable, so they probably mulligan to that. They also have Karn the Great Creators that can get Tormod's Crypt. Yep, there's a relic. Okay. So we just have to figure out how to play around or through that. Second Thrilling Discovery helps a lot. Let's play City of Brass. Since we have Thrilling Discoveries instead of Cathartic Reunion, we get to dredge a handful, make our opponent pop relic, pick up our dredgers again, and then go again after that. Or with Cathartic Reunion, we would be discarding our dredgers, they would just exile them, and then we don't have any of those anymore. Opponent's holding up the relic activation, they do not have turn 3 Tron set up. We drew Conflag, don't really care about that. Let's go Thrilling Discovery, and I think I discard both Dark Blast and Stinkweed Imp here. I don't want to activate too many things, I just want to do enough to entice them into getting rid of Relic. Stinky Dark Blast. So if I get a bunch of triggers, I'll stop dredging. A bunch of Creeping Chills. I wonder if that's enough for them. It gets a Silver Smoke Ghoul back to... Let's just take a draw. The main issue with Relic effects... By the way, it's kind of annoying that we hit 3 Creeping Chills because now it's going to be really hard to get Silver Smokes back. Alright, opponent cantrips the Relic. That's fine. Hopefully they don't have the second one. And then we can go for it again next turn. We didn't see any Narcomoebas. That's kind of good. That means it'll be easier to get Prized Amalgams back. What I was saying, though, against Relic-style effects against Dredge, you want to make sure that you're not using too many cards out of your library. What does Warping Whale hit? Fuck, it hits sorceries. Oh no. That's annoying. I guess I can Conflag. I can Conflag for 0, and then Conflag for 3, discarding Stinky, Dark Blast, Stinky. Deal a little bit of damage to my opponent. Get the Stinkweed Imps in the graveyard, and then I'm at least starting to dredge. I think I'm going to leave the Dark Blast in my hand, actually, so that I have it to discard to Thrilling Discovery next turn in case they tap down. Conflag 0. Tapping a red. Okay, what a weird play this is. And we still have to dodge Karn the Great Creator. Them for 2. But they don't have Tron, or at least aren't very close to it at all yet, so that's nice. Hey, red. Red. Discard Stinky, Stinky. Well, let's discard 1 Stinkweed Imp, because I want to have a situation where they get Tormod's Crypt. They can crypt away 1 Stinkweed Imp, or whatever triggers we get from 1, and then we can still Thrilling Discovery discarding Stinkweed Imp. So I think that's exactly how I'm going to do it. Let's discard the 1. Open deck list is weird. I don't think I've played in a tournament with open deck lists before top 8 before. Okay. I think I played that correctly. I'm pretty sure at least. It took a little bit of deliberation, but still. We're getting there. Opponent taps a green. Alright. Plays Ancient Stirrings. They could find Relic, but they're not playing Karn this turn, so that's good news at least. They might be holding up Warping Whale still. Hopefully not. Hopefully they'll be a little greedy. They have Expedition Map. That might make me want to force them to use the Warping Whale instead of Map. Narcomoeba trigger. Okay. Yes. I don't like this situation. I very much don't like this situation. What's the best play from here? I could just cast Stinkweed Imp. That doesn't really do much of anything, though. I guess I just Thrilling Discovery to force them to Warping Whale and use their mana here. Okay. Opponent has 3 cards in hand. They're going to have 7 mana possibly next turn. Maybe more than that if they naturally draw the tower. Hopefully we're not just dead, but we very much might be. We get to dredge Golgari Thug. That's nice at least. It means that we could possibly hit an Ox and keep going from there. What you got, opponent? is it a Karn the Great Creator? It's a Chromatic Star. Okay. They might not have an appropriate payoff yet. That would be good news. They could also be going for a Thragtusk here. I saw that they had one of those in their deck. Sylvan Scrying. Okay. They could still play Karn Tormod's Crypt. Oh, it's an Oblivion Stone. Okay. That's annoying too, but it's not as bad. Alright. Come on. Ox into our graveyard. We hit a Narcomoeba and Otherworldly Gaze. Do I just cast the Otherworldly Gaze here? I think I do. I'm casting Otherworldly Gaze here in case I mill a Prized Amalgam so I can get it back with Narcomoeba. Okay, I found Ox, I found another Gaze, and I found a Mana Confluence. Let's just put all of those into the graveyard. Might put Otherworldly Gaze on top, actually. Yeah, let's put you on top, since we're not dredging anyway. We'll use Narcomoeba's ability. Forgot to attack, okay. We're playing sloppy. I'm very distracted. And it looks like we're going to get Ulamogged now. Damn. I assume they hit 2 lands. Yeah, let's concede. It's possible I could have played around Ulamog there, but I think at that point I might as well just concede anyway because they're going to deck me by making me exile 20 on top of my dredging. What do I want to bring in? Ancient Grudge seems good. I'm on the play, so Gemstone Caverns isn't correct. I think I bring in the Nature's Claims too, instead of Portable Hole. At least some amount of Nature's Claims. Dark Blast is pretty bad. I don't want to cut all of them necessarily since they are just another dredger, so let's start by cutting 2. Let's cut Conflag since they don't really have creatures that we want to target. And let's cut maybe 1 more Dark Blast. Yeah, I think I'd rather do that than cutting the payoff pieces. Cross your fingers for me. Let's get a dub against Tron here. If Otherworldly Gaze hits dredgers, this could actually be a pretty decent hand, so I think I'm going to keep it. Opponents mulliganing for their hate pieces. Love to see it. They might also just be mulliganing for Tron, but I assume it's for hate pieces because we can race them really effectively if they don't have the right stuff. Alright, play Spire Bluff Canal pass. We're going to have 1 draw step and 3 cards that we can mill to try to hit some amount of dredgers. And then Thrilling Discovery can hopefully set up enough of a board that we can set up for the kill before they get to pop this relic. Alright, Otherworldly Gaze, come on. As always, casting it in second main so that if we hit Prized Amalgam Narcomoeba, we can just put them into play and start attacking sooner. Golgari Thug, Prized Amalgam, Mana Confluence. Okay, all into the graveyard. We did hit a Dredger. That gives us hope. They can Relic, hitting Mana Confluence. We won't really care about that. When it Relics us, you can take the Mana Confluence. Hopefully that won't matter. We Dredge Thug. Narcomoeba, Ancient Grudge. Okay. Narcomoeba gets back our Prized Amalgam. We didn't hit other dredgers. I could just go for Ancient Grudge on the Relic here. That's not that bad. It means they could play another Relic and threaten us from there, but I think I'd rather wait another turn since I don't have any other dredgers. I'm not certain that I'm going to get enough payoffs with this Thrilling Discovery. So let's just go ahead and nuke you. Pass the turn, get back Prized Amalgam. Okay. Opponent plays Chromatic Star. They don't have any more lands? Excellent. Alright, we're going to draw. We draw Creeping Chill, very sad. We're going to attack. And since they missed a land drop, I think I just wait and play Otherworldly Gaze, since I have extra time, apparently. Opponent cracks for a green. Probably going to cast an Ancient Stirrings here, I'd assume, looking for a land. There's the Stirrings. They find a forest, not a Tron land, excellent. They play Expedition Map, okay. Second main, flashback Otherworldly Gaze. Tap. What do we hit? Prized Amalgam, Golgari Thug, Blackcleave Cliffs. Excellent. All to the graveyard. Now we have 2 dredgers, so we're definitely casting Thrilling Disco here. Dredge Thug. We hit Narcomoeba Otherworldly Gaze. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze in response. Silver Smote Ghoul, Creeping Chill, and Narcomoeba into the graveyard. We're popping off. Chill our opponent. Get a Narcomoeba. Prized Amalgam trigger. Get another Narcomoeba. Get a second Prized Amalgam trigger on the same Prized Amalgam. Play Gemstone Mine. Play Thrilling Discovery. I could possibly just hardcast a Creeping Chill next turn, and that's kind of hilarious. Since we have so many damn lands. Alright, Golgari Thug. Dredge Thug again. Dredge Stinky. Hooray! Alright. We're at least 1-1. Let's bring in Gemstone Cavern. Let's cut. I still like the Nature's Claims and Ancient Grudge. Maybe I just cut an Ox here. Maybe I cut a Silver Smoke Ghoul. This slot has always been weird for me deciding what to get rid of, because Ox is very good, but you usually only need one of them. I think I'm going to cut the Ghoul, and we'll run it like that. Oh, what am I doing? God damn it. I was acting as if I was adding something that wasn't a land in. Alright. After this match, I'm not going to be as sloppy, I promise. This hand, we have 2 Cathartics, we have Nature's Claim to answer a Relic, we have a Prized Amalgam to pitch to Cathartic, and we have an Otherworldly Gaze to try to set up our graveyard. Let's keep this. Gemstone Mine is eventually going to expire, and we're probably playing it on turn 1 so we can cast Gaze / Nature's Claim. So we'll have to eventually look for another land, possibly with the first Gaze. We'll see what happens, though. Opponent plays Urza's Mine. Makes sense. Plays Chromatic Sphere. Not a relic. Fantastic. We draw Blackcleave Cliffs. Okay, we probably don't need to look for a second land. Or a third land, I mean. Let's see what our opponent does here. They play Tower. Looks like they're setting up for a fast Tron. But their shields appear to be down also. Sylvan Scrying. So they're going to have turn 3 Tron. We need to Otherworldly Gaze, find Dredgers, and then set up a board before they start getting their payoffs, is what we're playing to now. Luckily, they didn't have any relics early. And I don't imagine that they sided in their Tormod script, because I think they would keep that in the side for KGC to get. Opponent gets a Sanctum of Ugin, so they must already have the power plant. Second main, cast Otherworldly Gaze. What do we see? Dark Blast, Cathartic, Mana Confluence. All into the graveyard. Hopefully we draw a Stinkweed Imp. That would be fantastic. Dark Blast is not the dredger that we're looking for, really. Actually, we're going to dredge Dark Blast anyway, so... Okay, we found Stinkweed Imp. That's good. We have a decent setup now. Because now we can discard Prized Amalgam instead of just discarding Dredgers. Cast Cathartic, discard Prized Amalgam, discard Dark Blast. Dredge Stinky. Dredge Thug. Dredge Stinky. Alright. 3 Creeping Chills and a Narcomoeba. We're going to get back 2 Prized Amalgams and a Silver Smoke Ghoul. Pretty good board. I'm happy with that. Opponent's at 11. We have 10 damage on them currently. They play Relic, a little bit too late, I suppose. They pop it now. Interesting. So we can go for a second Cathartic and try to Creeping Chill them away. They Warping Wail one of our creatures away, because it hits Silver Smoke Ghoul. Upkeep, nothing. We draw Golgari Thug, play Blackcleave Cliffs, go to combat, attack with our boys. Creeping Chill no longer kills them. Do I Cathartic here? I assume I do. I might as well just press the advantage. Well, they could... They could O-Stone, so I'm going to play Golgari Thug, because if they O-Stone and pop it, I can target Narcomoeba with the Thug trigger and then get back the Prized Amalgams. And I already have Lethal on them, so I don't really need to press the advantage more. Hooray! Alright, we got there. 1-0 so far. And I'll see you in the next one in this Pure Modern tournament. Alright, round 2 of Pure Modern. I'm playing against Martyr Proc this time, which should be interesting. This hand seems fine. We'll keep it. Unfortunately, they're going to have a lot of life gain main deck, and then they have a decent amount of Graveyard Hate sideboard. I can't say that I was planning on the Martyr Proc matchup with this deck selection, so we'll see. Alright, let's go Blackcleave Cliffs, pass. Opponent plays Flagstones, plays Serra Ascendant. Okay. We draw Ox, play Mana Confluence. Do I discard Stinky or do I discard Stinky Ox? Because that way I can Ox for sure next turn, but Stinky here might give me a better setup. I think I discard Stinky here, because I could blank if I just Dredge 5. Yeah, I would have blanked and not been able to continue. Okay, yes. Okay, yes. Okay, we get 2 Prized Amalgams and 2 Narcomoebas this turn. Cool. And now we are basically out of steam unless we draw something good, which is unfortunate. Let's play you. Let's go to combat first. I'm incredulous about this, because they could gain enough that Serra Ascendant is online, and then I'm in a bad spot. But I guess I might as well force them to do that. I don't know how many white cards they have in their hand necessarily. They're definitely going to pop Martyr here. If they have 4 or more white cards in their hand, they do. Fuck. We're going to play Stinkweed Imp that can block Serra Ascendant. This is going to be a rough matchup, I can tell you that right now. Speaker of the Heavens, Jesus Christ. No, not like this. Another Martyr, okay. Martyr and Speaker have been played. They have a Ranger and Path to Exile still. We draw Silver Smoke Ghoul. Not very exciting. What do I do about this? I could get in with Stinkweed Imp and play the other one, but then I don't have the Stinky to pitch to Dredge later. I think I play Silver Smoke Ghoul here, and then just pass. At least the Stinkweed Imp means that they're not attacking with the Sarah Ascendant for now. They could absolutely path the Stinkweed Imp, but that's kind of fine. They do not path the Stinkweed Imp. Interesting. I think it definitely would be worth hitting. But they know about the second one, I guess. Yeah, I think this matchup might just be... I think this matchup might just not be a winner for Dredge, unfortunately. I feel like just as much as local tournaments I go to consistently have like the one Dredge guy that's making sure everybody has graveyard hate, there always seems to be like one person on Martyr Proc that's just giving whatever aggro players they queue into a horrible time. Conflag is a fantastic draw here, oh my god. Alright, so no targets with this first one. Pay a red. Conflag, you, red, red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, not having the Speaker is a great start for me. They still have a path that they can get rid of Stinkweed Imp with, but I can at least sort of set up my graveyard again now, and I haven't exiled any Creeping Chills. This is going to be a long matchup, I can feel it. Opponent sacks Martyr, goes up to 42, paths Stinkweed Imp. We don't have any basics. Opponent attacks. We will block with a Narcomoeba, block with a Narcomoeba. Might as well conserve our life total as much as we can, I think. Dredge Stinky. We hit a Creeping Chill. Yes. We can attack for 6. Do we just play Stinkweed Imp again to stop them from attacking for a little while? I think that might be the play. Instead of playing Ox. Play Stinkweed Imp. And we're going to attack for 6 because we're not blocking with these creatures anyway right now. So we might as well try to keep their life total in check a little bit. There's a path. That's bad. That's really bad. So we're going to take 12, go down to 2. If we don't hit a Creeping Chill with our Dredging Stinkweed Imp, we just are dead. So I guess we'll see. Dredge Stinky. We hit a Creeping Chill. Okay. Now what? We can block one of them. Yeah, we're just dead. Not Martyr Proc. Oh no. Okay. So what do I do about this? I think Portable Hole is good. Let me consult their deck list. They're playing a Stoneforge package in their main deck too. They have 1 Proclamation of Rebirth. They have 1 Day of Judgment. In their sideboard, they have 2 copies of Wheel of Sun and Moon, 1 Oriok Champion they might bring in, and it looks like that's basically it. So I think I bring in Portable Holes, because they can get rid of Sarah Ascendants, and they can also get rid of Wheel of Sun and Moon. And is it worth bringing in Nature's Claim? They're going to have 3 wheels, so there's a decent chance that I'm going to need a little bit extra removal. Dark Blast is okay against them, but it's not great. Let's cut 1 Ox, because we're keeping Conflag, 1 Silver Smoke Ghoul, and I think I do want all the Dark Blasts, because then I can get rid of Martyrs, and I can get rid of early Sarah Ascendants. Not a Martyr of Sands, although that does hit it. I mean, Speaker of the Heavens. I don't know why I thought of that as Martyr for whatever reason. Yeah, let's get rid of 1 Golgari Thug. I think that's the way that we want to run this. This matchup seems fucked up. We have Conflag. We don't have any answers for Wheel of Sun and Moon. We don't have Cathartic. Let's mulligan. We also don't have any Dredgers, of course. Okay, this one we have our worst Dredger, a Cathartic, and 3 of our Creeping Chills. No answers for Wheel of Sun and Moon, so let's mulligan. Let's keep this. Get rid of Narcomoeba, get rid of Creeping Chill. We're hoping to find a land. We're hoping to find a Cathartic. I've sort of resigned myself to just losing this match, unfortunately, because from my experience of watching my friend that has Martyr Proc built play against Dredge decks, I don't think I realistically have a shot here. So I might as well just keep a hand that's moderate and has an answer for this shit. Alright. Hopefully they don't have more of those. We draw. Thrilling Discovery. Okay, we're a land away from having something happen. And we also have to have them not play another Wheel of Sun and Moon. They Field of Ruin us. Okay, well, they're getting back their wheel anyway. They could also just Field of Ruin our one land away. I'm just going to concede. There's not a reasonable way to get out of here. It might be considered an early concession, but my god. See you in the next one. All right, round 3 of Pure Modern. We won the die roll, so we're going to take the play. We have 3 Cathartic effects, a Conflag, and a Creeping Chill, and no Dredgers. So I think we got a mulligan this. This one has Thrilling Discovery, Dredgers, no second land, so we got a mulligan again. All right, and this hand's reasonable. And the deck our opponent is playing against is pretty spicy. It's playing Bitter Blossom, some blue-black control stuff, Jace, Teferi Time Raveler, so it's an Esper deck. And in the sideboard, we're going to have to look out for 3 Ashiok Dream Renders, 2 Surgical Extractions, Kalidas, Damnation, and looks like that's pretty much it for Graveyard Hate. So we're going to keep this one. We're going to get rid of Narcomoeba. We're going to get rid of probably a land. Yeah, let's get rid of a land. That way we have Silver Smote and Golgari Thug to discard to Thrilling Disco. Let's see if our opponent interacts with us on turn 1 with an Inquisition or a Thoughtseize. Opponent plays Marsh Flats, cracks it, gets a Swamp. Looks like we're probably getting Inquisitioned here. We get Thoughtseize. They probably take Thrilling Disco. I don't know why they wouldn't. And we're just going to be looking for another Cathartic effect off the top eventually, hopefully. Otherworldly Gaze would also be a nice draw. But Cathartic Reunion, Thrilling Discovery, Otherworldly Gaze, those are the things we're really looking for here. We draw Prized Amalgam, okay, let's pass. Opponent cracks Polluted Delta, gets a Hollowed Fountain, goes down to 14, and plays Stoneforge Mystic. Okay, opponent shows a Batter Skull with Stoneforge. Alright, we draw City of Brass. Let's play out Silver Smote Ghoul, because we can possibly pop it to draw a card, and that way we at least start having a bit of a board presence. That Thoughtseize did a lot of work on us, I gotta say. Opponent passes, excellent. We draw another Silver Smote. Let's... Probably just gonna put Batter Skull into play. They missed a land drop. I can either play out another Silver Smote, or I can just draw a card here. I don't think I want to play out Golgari Thug, although if it dies, then I'd be able to start dredging, but only if I get another creature in my graveyard, so that's not a great deal. Let's play out the second Silver Smote Ghoul, I think. And we'll just pass so that they don't get the free block with Batter Skull on us. Opponent activates Stoneforge, puts Batter Skull into play. Okie dokie. What kind of counterspells do they have? They have Drown in the Lock. It looks like that's it in the main deck. And that's also in the sideboard, other than a Mystical Dispute, which we know they're not going to bring in against us, and Disdainful Strokes, which are also not going to come in against us. Okay. They attack with Stoneforge Mystic. I think I blocked that, because I'm going to get the Silver Smote Ghoul back eventually anyway. Opponent plays Bitter Blossom. Alright. We draw Cathartic Reunion. Alright. It's go time. Cast Cathartic, discard Prized Amalgam, Thug. Cathartic Resolves, Dredge Thug, come on more Dredgers, Dredge Thug again, and Dredge Stinkweed Imp. No Creeping Chills, but we get a Narcomoeba, and that means we get back the Prized Amalgams, so that's good news. Not attacking with Silver Smote Ghoul, of course. And next turn we can get back an Ox. Seems like a good deal to me. We're mostly looking to try to find Conflag now. We're going to Dredge another Stinkweed Imp on our turn, and then we're going to cast Ox. Interesting. I could... So we know they have Drown in the Lock. If they hold up their mana, is there a way for me to cast Ox where they can't counter it? I have 11 cards in my graveyard already. I could just take a draw. Okay, they're tapping out, so that's fine. Double Bitter Blossom is a very bold thing to do. Alright, we're going to Dredge Stinky. We find a Creeping Chill, we find a Conflag for later. We Creeping Chill. We're going to... Do I just Conflag now to get rid of the Batter Skull? I think I do, actually. Let's go Conflag. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Red. Red. 1, 2, 3, 4. Done. Yeah, might as well just pressure their life total, since they have double Bitter Blossom anyway. Opponent blocks Narcomoeba with the Fairy, takes a whole bunch of damage, and dies on their upkeep to Bitter Blossom. Works for me. Hooray for Bitter Blossom. Alright, what do we want to bring in? Unfortunately, Portable Hole does not hit Ashiok. We definitely bring in Gemstone Mine, or Gemstone Cavern, I mean. How do we deal with Ashiok? Opponent also has Surgicals that they're bringing in. We don't really need Artifact or Enchantment removal. Artifact removal could hit like Batterskull, but it's not as important as just getting rid of whatever BS our opponent's going to do to us. So I guess our options are really like we could bring in Leyline of Sanctity to stop them from thought seizing us and targeting us with Ashiok. That way they would have to target themselves. Or we could bring in Thought Seizes to try to get their Ashioks before they play it. I think I like the Leyline plan better, because they have 4 Inquisitions and 2 Thought Seizes, and casting one of those into a Surgical would be really backbreaking against us if they hit the right stuff. So let's do that. Let's cut 1 Ox, 1 Dark Blast, since they don't have that many things that we want to target with it. 1 Blackcleave Cliff, since we cut a Dark Blast, and maybe 1 more Dark Blast. They have Spellstutter Sprites, which we can kill but don't really care about. They have Snapcaster Mages, which we can also kill but don't really care about. They have Stoneforge Mystic, which we can kill with 1 Dark Blast if we do it in our upkeep and then after our draw step. But I don't think we care that much about it, so let's cut a second Dark Blast and do it like that. We also saw it's possible the Dark Blast could be useful if we like shrink a Batterskull that's blocking a 3/3, but that's kind of unlikely. This hand I would be super happy with if Ox was a Cathartic Reunion, because we have Gemstone Caverns here, but we're going to have to mulligan, unfortunately, since we don't really have a way to get started. Alright, let's keep. Let's put a Mana Confluence on the bottom, and start with Leyline of Sanctity in play. Alright, so that means no Surgicals for a bit. And opponent concedes to that. Weird. Alright. Yay! Free stuff! Alright. They must have kept a really Thoughtseize heavy hand, I assume. Honestly, they should have definitely kept playing, because they had a shot, just because if they brought in their Graveyard Hate, eventually they'll be able to hit me. And you can target yourself with Ashiok and still exile all your opponent's graveyard, so that doesn't really matter. But I'll see you in the next one. Alright, round 4 of Pure Modern with Dredge. This round we're playing against an Esper control deck that has 4 copies of Leyline of the Void in the sideboard, and that's pretty much all for sideboard stuff that's good against us, but they have 4 Narset Parters that are going to be really good against our Cathartic effects in the main deck, and they have a decent amount of counter magic with 2 Mana Leaks, 4 Mans, 2 Cryptics, 2 Spell Pierce, and a Spell Snare in the main deck, along with 1 Supreme Verdict. Alright, so this hand, we don't have any looting effects, so let's mulligan. Our opponent kept 7. We have multiple Cathartics, which I like against... I like this hand if they have a lot of counter spells, but I don't like it if they have Narset. I think I keep this, though. I'm sort of leaning towards... Yeah, let's keep. Let's get rid of one of them. Let's go with Thrilling Discovery. Depending on the situation, Cathartic might be better sometimes, like if we just want to discard a Dredger. Let's play Mana Confluence and pass. Opponent plays an island and passes. Excellent. We draw Ox of Agonas. Okay. Let's go Mana Confluence. And it looks like they have a counterspell up, so let's go Cathartic Reunion, because we want to discard even if they counter. Discarding Dark Blast, discarding Silver Smote Ghoul. Hopefully we can get the Ox into the graveyard later. They remand. That's fine. Let's see if they have a Narset here. Hopefully not. Field of Ruin's also really good against us because we don't have any basics. They have 4 copies of Field of Ruin in their deck, but we have an extra land, so that's nice at least. And they have 4 copies of March of Otherworldly Light and 4 copies of Path to Exile that we're going to have to fight through as well. Opponent keeps a Plains up. They are not representing a counterspell right now. That's good news. Let's Dredge Dark Blast. We see Narcomoeba and another Dark Blast. Okay, no big dredgers yet. Play Gemstone Mine, play Cathartic, discard Dark Blast, discard Ox. Alright, hopefully we can hit a Stinkweed Imp kind of early, so we can get a lot of cards into the graveyard. Dark Blast, Dark Blast, Dark Blast. Wow, that was something. We haven't even hit any other ones yet. That's really weird. Alright, we have 2 Silver Smoke Ghouls, 2 Prize Amalgams, and Ox in our graveyard. We don't really have a board yet, so that's something. We can cast Ox, but they can remand it or mana leak it, so that's a little bit unsafe. We draw here. We draw Spire Bluff Canal. Let's go to combat. Attack with Narco. Play Spire Bluff. I have 13 cards in my graveyard. They know about the Ox, so I think I'd rather go for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm pretty sure they're just going to have like a mana leak or something here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But if they don't, that's fantastic. They did keep up all their mana though, so I doubt it. They remand. That sucks. Oh my god, remand is good against Ox. That's hilarious. Opponent plays Teferi. I think I'd Dark Blast my Narc Amoeba. So I can just try to start dredging again. Because we have a lot of payoffs in the graveyard, but we just need something to get us started. Opponent pluses Teferi. Okay. Dredge Dark Blast. We hit a Narc Amoeba. That's going to bring back our prized amalgams at least. And we hit a Conflag also. That's interesting. That means that we can discard the Oxen and Dark Blasts and do some damage to Teferi. Is it worth doing damage to Teferi? Probably. How much do I want to do? I think I'm going to deal 3. I'm going to discard 2 Dark Blasts and Ox. Keep a Dark Blast for Thrilling Discovery, possibly next turn. Let's do it like that. So 3 to Teferi so that it can't downtick. Tap red, red. Discard 1, 2, 3. Okay. So based on the Leyline of the Voids, I think I need to try really hard to get game 1 against them, because game 2 and 3 are going to be significantly more difficult. I do have Nature's Claims at least, so that's nice. It resolves and they take the damage on their Teferi, that's nice. Get back some prized amalgams. There's a decent chance they'll have removal for some of our stuff to start off with, but hopefully we can create a situation where there are enough threats that they can't deal with all of them. Opponent is also playing 3 copies of Snapcaster Mage, which might be relevant soon. They path 1 prized amalgam, that's okay. No. Opponent pluses Teferi, up to 3. Alright. Is it worth attacking Teferi? It doesn't do that much against us. I'm not sure if it's worth threatening our opponent less for a turn because of it. I guess we'll see what they do. They go down to 16, playing a Hollowed Fountain. Okay. We dredge Dark Blast. We find a Creeping Chill. That's going to get back our Silver Smoke Ghouls. Nice to see. And let's threaten the Teferi, I think. Let's attack with each of our creatures, so even if they have another path or other removal spell for prized amalgam, they can't bounce anything back to our hand with Teferi next turn. Opponent plays March X3. Okay. They have 3 cards in hand and 2 mana up. Let's go for Thrilling Discovery, see if it resolves. Remand, okay. And pass. 2 Silver Smoke Ghouls come back. So they know about the Thrilling Discovery and the Dark Blasts. Opponent pluses Teferi up to 3. 4 cards in their hand. How much mana is it to activate Hall of the Storm Giants? It is 6 mana. Okay. What cards do they have? So they only have the 1 main deck Supreme Verdict, but they do have another one that they get to bring in, that I assume they'll bring in their sideboard. They're also playing 2 copies of Days Undoing to go with their 4 Narsets, which is interesting. Opponent plays Watery Grave, shocking themselves, and passes, it looks like. Okay. We dredge Dark Blast. No triggers, but we see a Golgari Thug. Let's go to combat. Attack face, attack Teferi. If our opponent goes to remove a Silver Smoke Ghoul, I think I just pop it to draw a card and dredge Thug, because there's a decent chance it'll just come back after that. I still don't have quite enough cards to escape Ox in my graveyard, but I'm getting close. They could animate Hall of the Storm Giants to block something, but then they're pretty much tapped out. And they do have 2 Spell Pierces and a Spell Snare that could possibly hit Thrilling Discovery, but it's much less likely past that point. What's the power and toughness on this guy? It's a 7/7. I think in that scenario I might still just pop the Ghoul and dredge. I'm going to play Snapcaster Mage. I assume getting a path here. They target Remand. Interesting. They block Silver Smote. I should have Dark Blasted. Oh, I can't Dark Blast in response anyway. I'm stupid. They block the one that's targeting Teferi. That's fine. And since they have Remand anyway, I think I just pass. So they don't get to use that. 2 cards in our opponent's hand. They cast March of Otherworldly Light on Silver Smoke Ghoul. We will pop it to draw. Dredging Thug. No triggers, but we hit an Otherworldly Gaze in our graveyard. Very cool. 2 cards in our opponent's hand still. They bounce Narcomoeba with Teferi, drawing a card up to 3 cards in hand. They play Field of Ruin. I assume they're going to use the Field of Ruin. They Field of Ruin Mana Confluence. Alright. They cast Days Undoing. That's a little unfortunate for us, but alright. It gives us a fresh hand and ends their turn. So on our upkeep, let's cast Otherworldly Gaze. Ghoul, Graveyard, Thug, Graveyard. Let's put Cathartic on top. That way I can get Ox and Dark Blast into the graveyard for sure. Play Cliffs, cast Cathartic. They're probably going to counter it. Ideally, it doesn't matter. Discard you, discard you. They do not counter it. Interesting. Dredge Thug, Dredge Stinky, Dredge another Thug. Alright, that's a bunch of triggers. We Creeping Chill. Yes. Get a Prized Amalgam back. Yes. So we're going to be getting back a Silver Smoke Ghoul and a Prized Amalgam at end of turn. Let's see if they have a Wrath or a bunch of removal now. They cycle Rafine's Tower. Alright. Opponent's at 4. How many Creeping Chills have we seen? 1, 2. We've only seen 2, so they're dead to hitting Creeping Chills a bunch of times in a row on our side, which is nice to see. Cashing in the Days Undoing without them having a Narset was fantastic for us. Or at least it was fine. We were already decently positioned, I would say. But them giving us a refill and then not having counter magic the next turn was really nice. Gonna place Field of Ruin. I assume they're going to blow up another one of our lands here, at least possibly. They might be running out of basics soon, though. They have a basic swamp. They have 2 plains. They have 5 islands. Okay, they're not running out. And they don't have any swamps in their deck, since it's the least useful of their colors. Blows up Blackcleave Cliffs. Okie dokie. Give my deck a nice little shuffle. Place Teferi. Okie dokie. Well, they need a bunch of removal still. And they don't have Supreme Verdict mana up. So they can bounce Prized Amalgam or Ghoul with Teferi. Then they have to remove the other one with a Path. Take 2. Die to a Creeping Chill, perhaps. That'd be pretty cool of them. Bounces Prized Amalgam. Alright. And they've got a grip of 7, so I'm sure they have options. The counter magic is not as good now that we actually have a board, though. Opponent passes the turn. Okay. Interesting. We Dredge Stinkweed Imp. We do not get any Creeping Chills from that. We go to combat. All at our opponent. What you got? They're tapping out. They tap out to March our Ghoul. They don't have any answers now to us just casting Ox from our graveyard, and we can dredge our entire deck. So easy peasy. Exile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hooray! Dredge Stinky. Dredge Stinky. Dredge Thug. Yes. Hooray, Creeping Chill. Alright. So we have to fight through Leyline of the Voids. Another Supreme Verdict. They have temporary lockdown, but that doesn't really do anything against us since all of our stuff is 3 and up, at least the decent cards. And they have Unmoored Ego they could possibly bring in, but it seems a little deep to bring that in against us. So let's bring in 1 Gemstone Cavern, 3 Nature's Claims. Now what I'm wondering is it worth bringing in Thoughtseizes against them? They could clear the way for a Nature's Claim, and that seems really nice. They could also get rid of a Verdict or a Counterspell before we cast a Cathartic, maybe? Let's cut down on Dark Blast. We're cutting at least 2 of them for sure. We're going to cut down... I don't know what land yet because of wondering whether we're going to bring in Thoughtseize or not. Let's cut Conflag since they're basically not playing creatures. I think like 2 Thoughtseizes is probably appropriate, because I'm sure they're going to mulligan for Leyline of the Void, and we're going to need to be able to answer that handily. Let's cut another Blast. Let's cut Ox is kind of awkward against Remand, so I think I cut one of them. Do I just cut the last blast and bring in another Thoughtseize maybe? And let's cut a Gemstone Mine for the Gemstone Caverns because this game's probably going to go long. Yeah, let's bring in the other Thoughtseize. They don't really give me any Dark Blast targets, and it doesn't feel good to target my own Narcomoeba like I had to there. So let's just run it like this. Gemstone Caverns, 3 Nature's Claims, and 3 Thoughtseize coming in. Wish me luck. If we see Unmoored Ego, I might have to bring in Leyline of Sanctity. Hopefully not. I'd rather just dodge them playing Unmoored Ego, because I guess they could, like, mulligan for Leyline of the Void and then Unmoored Ego our Nature's Claims away since they know about our sideboard. That would be pretty good, but that seems like a lot of work on their end, so hopefully it just doesn't happen. This hand has turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Cathartic, but no Nature's Claim. Is it worth keeping without a Nature's Claim? We don't have any Dredgers either. Yeah, let's mulligan. Okay, this one's 1 land. This one's definitely not a keep. Is our opponent going to mulligan down to 5? They do. So they're looking for ley lines. We're looking for Nature's Claim is what's happening here. This hand has Gemstone Caverns. They keep 5. I could keep the Gemstone Caverns hand, get rid of a Creeping Chill and a Narcomoeba, put a Narcomoeba under Gemstone Caverns, and just kind of hope. Because if they stopped at 5 and don't have Leyline, I'm a top deck Cathartic Reunion away from just having an insane start. Let's keep. This is definitely on the risky side, but I'm feeling frisky today. Gemstone Cavern, exiling Narcomoeba. Opponent does not have a Leyline. Excellent start. So I was correct to keep that hand, I guess. But we still don't have anything going on. This looks like it's going to be the hardcast Stinkweed Imp game, possibly. We will see. That's definitely risky, though, since they could just path it, and then we don't have a Dredger in the cycle at all. We'll see, I guess. Opponent has 4 cards in hand. I'm sure they have some amount of counter magic, so I'd rather not go all in on a Cathartic here. We draw. Golgari Thug. Since we have a second Dredger now, I think that means that I just cast the Stinkweed Imp. Alright, beatdown plan activated. Starting off with our 1-2. They remand it. Okay, that works. Making them get through a remand is honestly one of the better results from playing a Stinkweed Imp out. I'm not going to complain about that. When it plays a land, I assume they're going to nick our Gemstone Caverns here. If I had known this many people would be playing Field of Ruin in this format, I think I'd be playing a basic Mountain instead of the Steam Vents, possibly. I don't know, this is a very demanding mana base, so maybe not, but it'd be nice to at least have the option, I think. I think they are considering whether they want to play one of their 3-mana Planeswalkers or Field of Ruin my ass here, or possibly hold up a land, or hold up mana rather for a counterspell. Them getting a Narset down would still be pretty brutal because that turns off our Cathartics and Thrilling Discoveries from being particularly useful. And it also stops the ETB from Ox from dredging anything. Opponent passes, interesting. So they must have counter magic up. We draw Nature's Claim, which is nice because they're about to be in the zone where they could cast a Leyline. Let's play Stinky. Is it going to let me play Stinky? Tap, tap. There we go. I'm taking so much damage just to try to play a Stinkweed Imp. Play Gemstone Mine, pass the turn. I assume they're going to Field of Ruin here. Probably my Gemstone Caverns. Makes sense. Okay. We still have plenty of mana, so that's good at least. Opponent plays another Field of Ruin. We're getting more constrained on mana now, most likely. Yep, opponent Field of Ruins my ass, getting rid of the City of Brass. We shuffle again. They have 2 mana up, which probably represents another remand, but we have a clock now. And we found an Otherworldly Gaze. That's actually pretty nice. Alright, attack for 1. Opponent's at 18. We are officially started. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze in our opponent's second main. Okay, Spell Pierce. Alright. We can flash that back later at least. We untap, and we draw. Cathartic Reunion. Interesting. I think I want to wait and flash back the Otherworldly Gaze first. Hopefully get out the last little bit of counter magic that they might have up, or maybe they'll tap down for us. I know that I'm risking them... I'd be discarding Nature's Claim, but I'd also be discarding Thug, actually, so if they just happen to not have a counterspell, that's great, but even if they do counter the Cathartic, I at least get to start dredging. Yeah, let's go for Cathartic. They only have 4 cards in hand. So I think it's a good decision to just get Thug in the graveyard, even if they counter here. That definitely opens us up to them playing a black land and Leyline of the Void now, since we don't have the Nature's Claim, but I think it's worth it. When it snaps, Spell Pierces, okay. That at least means that we're not going to get completely destroyed by a Narset here. And another thing that I was considering is if they play another Field of Ruin, since they have 4 of them, they'd be able to hit one of our lands, and then we can't play Cathartic anyway. What you got, opponent? They played their 5th land, they have a Flooded Strand, so they effectively have black mana if they need it. They cast Unmoored Ego on us, that's bad. It's interesting that they did bring in the Unmoored Ego, though. Golgari Thug. Alright, so I think in my upkeep I just cast Otherworldly Gaze and hope for the best, because they're probably running out of resources, at least to some extent. That means we have basically no Dredgers in our deck, since we took out Dark Blasts. So that is pretty bad. Please don't counter this. That'd make me very sad. Looks like they're going to counter it. Remanding a flashback spell is really good too because you don't get it back. They mana leak it. That's fine. We draw a Mana Confluence. Let's keep that in hand, and let's just hold back Stinkweed Imp so that they can't attack us with Snapcaster Mage, since we're at a relatively low life total anyway. Opponent Paths. Alright. This is bad. They have 1 card in hand, though, so we could technically get somewhere still. We draw Stinkweed Imp. I definitely don't want that to get pathed, but I also don't want to get hit by Snapcaster Mage anymore. I think I pass and hope to draw a Cathartic Reunion or Thrilling Discovery again, because they only have a couple cards in hand, so there's a decent chance that they're out of counter magic for now, especially since they've used so much of it already, including a Spell Pierce that's in exile that they used twice. We draw. Inspiring Vantage. Let's play a land. Let's pass. If I don't draw something next turn, I think I'll go for the Stinkweed Imp. Because between getting hit for 2 with Snapcaster Mage and my City of Brass Mana Confluence situation, I am just pretty close to being dead. Mana Confluence. Okay. It's stinky time. Hopefully I will not die spontaneously. Looks like they have a Remand. They do. Alright. That gets a Remand out of their hand. Gives us slightly better odds of resolving a Cathartic or Thrilling Discovery if we draw it next turn, but we have to resolve it now. And actually we're going to be at 2, so we have to draw specifically that and get it to resolve because we can only tap Mana Confluence 1 more time. I think they're going to get Stinkweed Imp with this Unmoored Ego now. So they did bring in both of the Egos, which makes me kind of want Leyline of Sanctity, but it's still so weird because I feel like it's not that good against Dredge, especially since it gives you draws. It's a really interesting card. So I'm going to cut Gemstone Cavern since I'll be on the play. I definitely want the Nature's Claims. I just don't think Leyline of Sanctity is right for just 3 Unmoored Egos. Maybe if they were playing Thoughtseizes or something, I'd be more interested in bringing that in. They take Prized Amalgam, that's weird. Thought they would have taken Stinkweed Imp. Alright, 4 Prized Amalgams are in the Exile Zone. They play Spreading Seas on our Inspiring Vantage, so we have to draw exactly Cathartic Reunion now. But they are tapped out. Come on, Cathartic Reunion. Fuck. Alright. Well, Gemstone Mine means we can cast the Stinkweed Imp, so I guess technically we're not dead. Might as well stay and be at 1. But we're in a weird spot. It's going to be really hard to start dredging. They have 3 cards in hand, so they might just have a path and kill us here. We'll see. They don't. Weird. Next turn they can kill us with Hall of the Storm Giants now. We draw Otherworldly Gaze. Okay. So we're going to let them Hall of the Storm Giants animate to try to kill us, and we're gonna cast Otherworldly Gaze and hope really hard that we hit some amount of things. Alright, they didn't do that. Let's just go for Otherworldly Gaze in response to this Unmoored Ego. We get a Narcomoeba, and we get a Silver Smoke Ghoul in the graveyard. I'll leave the Thrilling Discovery in the deck. It's going to get shuffled anyway because of Gaze, though. Surprise Narcomoeba. Yes, I would love to put it into play. They're probably going to take Silver Smoke Ghoul with this Unmoored Ego, I would think. They named Creeping Chill. Fortunately for us, I'm pretty sure that was the correct thing for them to name. Because now we definitely can't use City of Brass or Mana Confluence, and we can't get back our Silver Smoke Ghouls either. Alright, so we can gain life by casting Thrilling Discovery if we draw another red source, I guess. Let's take a draw. We draw Cathartic Reunion. Interesting. Let's leave back both of our blockers in case they have removal, because we are very close to dying. Opponent attacks with Snappy. I will block the shit out of that with the Stinkweed Imp if you give me the option to. I mean, is there even really anything that I'm trying to get at this point from my graveyard? Tapping all creatures we control. Okay, so we're going to cast Otherworldly Gaze and hope to find an Narcomoeba, is what that means. No Narcomoebas, and we concede. Alright, so we got hit by a bunch of Unmoored Egos. I'm sure they have the Leyline of the Voids in the sideboard that they brought in against us. They just didn't see them. Let's cut Thoughtseizes. Let's cut Gemstone Caverns since we're on the play. Bring back the Gemstone Mine. Let's bring back 2 Dark Blasts, because they are just extra Dredgers. And 1 Ox. Do it like that. Hope for the best. Since we're on the play, if they go turn 1 Leyline of the Void and we have a turn 1 Nature's Claim, we can just play that and not worry about them countering it. So we don't need Thoughtseize necessarily as much for that specific interaction. I could bring in just the 1 Leyline of Sanctity and hope to get it instead of the Ox. That'd be kind of funny. I don't think it's worth it, especially since I feel like I'd just draw it later in the game anyway. We will take the play. We have Nature's Claim, no way to cast it, no Cathartics, got a mulligan. This hand is reasonable. Let's see if they mulligan. Hey, d00mwake's watching us. I think I keep this hand. God, they're keeping 7. They definitely have a Leyline. I think I gotta keep this hand, unfortunately. Let's keep the Prized Amalgam so I can discard it to Cathartic, get rid of Dark Blast. They didn't have a Leyline. That's surprising. Play City of Brass, pass. Alright, I think our hand might be nuts now, since they didn't have the Leyline. Play a tapped land, fuck. Okay. Counter this Otherworldly Gaze, please. Please Spell Pierce this. They did not. Okay, well that's a bunch of Dredgers anyway, so we're doing something one way or another. That was a crazy Otherworldly Gaze, as far as just setting up a bunch of Dredgers into our graveyard. Narcomoeba 2 Prized Amalgams coming back, fantastic. Yes. So they are probably going to have a counterspell for it, but I'm just going to get the other Prized Amalgam into our graveyard, because then it'll come back at the end of their turn, and we can also discard the Stinkweed Imp again to dredge it again. Red, red. d00mwake, you have made a monster of a format with no answers from MH2, is what I think. Do you have a counterspell, bucko? They do not. Haha, haha. Okay, 2 Creeping Chills, please. Okay, we get 2 Narcomoebas and a Creeping Chill, so we're getting back all of our shit. And our opponent does not have any answers because they are on turn 2 and they're basically dead. That was crazy. Oh my god. Yes. And I need to take off yields. Next turn we can Ox. That's insane. Yeah, Dredge is insane in this format. Our opponent definitely should have tried to mulligan for Leyline of the Void. I don't know why they kept 7 and didn't have it. That's kind of puzzling, honestly. It's going to take a while for these triggers to resolve because the Prized Amalgams are going to see each other. Or at least it would if I was clicking through it normally. Alright, so our opponent's basically dead because we just have lethal on board. Those are the dredge hands that I'm looking for. Those are the dredge hands that I want. These dredge hands are the ones I need more often. Holy shit. Yay! Alright, round 5 of Pure Modern. I am up against a Velomachus Lorehold Turns / Indomitable Creativity deck, which is going to be interesting. They have some Remands and Removal and Counter Magic in the main deck, but no Graveyard Hate in the main deck that I see, and they have 2 copies of Anger of the Gods, Cleansing Wildfires, which are secretly pretty good against us, I guess, and that's pretty much it in their sideboard against us. This hand is 1 land away from being good, so let's mulligan. Alright, we have Otherworldly Gaze, Cathartics, no Dredgers, but we can probably find them with Gaze, and we have 2 Cathartics anyway. So let's keep putting Narcomoeba on the bottom. And opponent's on the play. Opponent plays tapped Sacred Foundry. We draw Steam Vents. Let's play Steam Vents and just pass. What you got, opponent? Opponent plays an island. Second main, we're going to cast Otherworldly Gaze, getting Prized Amalgam, Dark Blast, and Blackcleave Cliffs into the graveyard. Dredge Dark Blast. It's kind of good against creativity also, actually. Let's play Mana Confluence. They're pretty clearly holding up counter magic. So I think I'm just going to pass and Otherworldly Gaze, because they're probably going to tap out on turn 3. And I'd rather set up my graveyard with Gaze a little bit more in the meantime. Possibly get back Prized Amalgam, we'll see. Opponent plays tapped Dwarven Mine. We flashback Gaze. Hitting what? So I can set up to where I get my Silver Smoke Ghoul back for sure. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's put Thrilling Discovery into the graveyard and Golgari Thug into the graveyard. Well, do I care that much about the Ghoul? I don't think I care that much about the Ghoul. Let's just drain our opponent here. I think we need to just try to get an insane start as much as possible instead of playing conservatively. Dredge Thug. We have an Otherworldly Gaze. We did see another Ghoul that kind of backfired, I guess. Play City of Brass. Play Cathartic Reunion. Discard Silver Smoke Ghoul, Golgari Thug. Do they have a remand? They only have 2 remands, so they might not. They do have a remand. Okay, that's fine. We have our graveyard set up pretty decently at least, and we can stop our opponent from killing us by getting a dwarf currently. So we're not dead this turn. What else do we have to worry about? They can make a token with Fable the Mirror Breaker, then they'd have a 2/2. They cast Exhaustion on us. That's a little annoying. Luckily, we don't necessarily need mana to do things because of how inherently broken Dredge is. Do I dredge Dark Blast so that I can kill the Fable token? Probably not. Let's just get Thug. That gives us an Archamoeba, and that gives us our Prized Amalgams. So I'm happy with that. Alright, we have a clock now. Exhaustion is really good against the Prized Amalgams too, since they enter-tapped. That's kind of funny. How many of those do they have? They just have the 1 copy of Exhaustion. They have 4 copies of Savor the Moment, 4 Time Warps as their other stuff. Alright, I'm going to dredge Dark Blast because of that, for sure. Even if they don't Creativity the Goblin away, which they're definitely going to, because if they have Creativity, they can't make a dwarf here because they have a basic island instead of more mountains, because you need 3 or more other mountains. This is very annoying because it can just make treasures and get value over time. So let's go to combat. Attack with the team. Start blasting. Keep on blasting. Always be blasting. Opponents at 10. They should not have a way to Creativity and kill us this turn. They do get to loot, though. They get rid of some Savor the Moments. That makes sense. They don't have a second blue yet, so it tracks at least. If they had another Exhaustion, it would be very good here, but luckily that was the only one. They could bring in Timely Reinforcements against us, too. I guess that's decent. They played Teferi. Okay. They bounce Prized Amalgam. Okay. Makes sense. I'm going to kill the Teferi with Narcomoeba for sure, or at least attempt to. The way they played Scalding Tarn means that they could have a Lightning Bolt. I think I'm going to attack Teferi with everybody, so that I can hold up Dark Blast. Let's go to combat. We've seen 1 Creeping Chill. Let's go 1 at Teferi and Prized Amalgam at our opponent. This way, if they save Teferi, which it looks like they're not doing anyway, they'd at least be tapped out in that scenario. Do they have Spell Pierces? They do not have Spell Pierces. Interesting. Looks like it's Cathartic Reunion time to me. Discard Prized Amalgam, discard Golgari Thug, and we could possibly just hit enough Creeping Chills to kill our opponent right now, which would be fantastic. I like winning. I like winning a lot, in fact. Stinkweed Imp, and Golgari Thug, and Stinkweed Imp. Okay, we hit 1 Creeping Chill. So our opponent could Creativity targeting their Reflection of the Mirror Breaker, and that would be at least a little obnoxious. But we have more than enough of a board to kill them. They are under complete pressure now. Opponent goes down to 3 to fetch with Scalding Tarn. They get Ketria Triome. Alright. Yes, I would love to use Narcomoeba's ability. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was hoping to hit at least 1 more Creeping Chill so they couldn't fetch. They do have possibly a line to kill us now, although it's at least a little unlikely, especially since we can block a couple times with Narcomoeba. They're not going to be able to go all the way, at least most likely. How many cards does Lore hold, see? Top 7. Mana value less than or equal to Velomachus. Lore holds power. That's interesting. I can stop him from playing Time Warp and force him to find Savor the Moment, which is interesting. Alright, Fable flips. Opponent plays Wooded Foothills. Cracks it down to 2. Yeah, I think what I have to do... They make a dwarf, alright. Yeah, I think what I have to do is shrink Lorehold on the first one, so they have to go for a Savor the Moment. Oh, they just found a Time Warp anyway. Alright. So they don't have Lorehold yet, or they don't have Creativity yet, that is. And that's 1 less Time Warp that they have access to also. That's interesting. Alright. Opponent plays another Time Warp. Alright. Plays an Arid Mesa. Goes down to 1. I guess that's not much different from 2 or 3 against Dredge. But it means they can't fetch anymore, at least. They get another Dwarf. Alright. So we just need them to stumble when and if they do find their Velomachus. Okay. I'm not going to Dark Blast that. They've used an exhaustion, 2 savor the moments, and 2 time warps already. So they have 2 time warps and 2 savers. And opponent concedes. Sweet. All right. Well, thank God we got through that one. Our opponent's bringing in 2 Anger of the Gods, possibly some amount of timely reinforcements, and basically that's it against us. So we're going to bring in Gemstone Cavern. We're going to leave all the Dark Blasts because those are good. We're going to bring in some amount of Thoughtseize, I think. I don't want to go too overboard with it. Let's see. Is it worth cutting Conflag? Because instant speed removal against the tokens is much better than sorcery speed. They do kind of get a board still, but I don't think it's better than Ox, at least most likely. Maybe Conflag is worth having just because they do go kind of wide sometimes. Let's cut an Ox, let's cut 1 Golgari Thug, and let's cut 1 Gemstone Mine. Run it like that. Just bring in 2 Thoughtseizes and our land. Not cutting Silver Smote Ghoul because we want to have as many threats as possible since they have Anger of the Gods. This hand is almost worth trying on the draw, but since Gemstone Mine self-destructs, we're not going to have enough time to do anything. Opponent's mulliganing to 6 as well. Opponent's mulliganing to 5. We're also going to join them, as this hand doesn't have any action. Gemstone Mine, Otherworldly Gaze, Dark Blast, Cathartic. Alright, we have to find a land with this Otherworldly Gaze, it looks like, but I will keep this. We're going to get rid of Narcomoeba, we're going to get rid of a Silver Smote Ghoul, and we're going to hope for the best. If they Cleansing Wildfire my Gemstone Mine, I'm going to be pissed. Maybe we'll draw a land before that, hopefully. Having the Dark Blast is also nice. We draw Blackcleave Cliffs. Okay, Gemstone Mine, go. Now we don't have to look for a land necessarily with Otherworldly Gaze, we can just focus on getting our Dredge synergies into the graveyard. If we have to leave something on top and don't mill any other dredgers, though, I will keep a land, I think, just because Cleansing Wildfire is really annoying. If they do have it in, opponent gets Ketria Triome, okie dokie. Opponent plays Scalding Tarn. Second main we cast Otherworldly Gaze. We see Thoughtseize, Blackcleave Cliffs. Interesting. I think I want to... What do I do here? Let's keep 1 Blackcleave Cliffs, put 1 in the graveyard, put Cliffs and Thoughtseize on top. That way we can force the Cathartic through and then also possibly get rid of an Anger of the Gods, because next turn we can just go Otherworldly Gaze anyway. Play Cliffs, pass the turn. I'm not against possibly getting rid of the other land anyway if we find a better one, because just having Blackcleave Cliffs doesn't cast quite enough things to be sufficient, even though those are our most important colors for most situations. When it gets a Rogran Triome, okie dokie. Setting up their Leyline Bindings, it looks like. Plays a tapped Steam Vents, alright. Second main, we will Flashback Gaze. Thrilling Discovery. Okay, we found Mana Confluence, so Blackcleave Cliffs goes to the graveyard. I feel like they're going to remand the Cathartic, and I also feel like they might go for Creativity soon, so I might want to keep up Dark Blast. Let's put Disco on top. Let's put Mana Confluence on top of that. And we're going to start off with a Thoughtseize, I think. Let's play Confluence first in case they have some shenanigans that I'm not aware of. Thoughtseize you. What you got, opponent? We only have 1 Dredger, which is really concerning. Timely Reinforcements, Indomitable Creativity. Okay, well that's easy. Let's take Creativity. They have 2 Dwarven Mines, so Dark Blast is going to be decent. We can hopefully just dodge them having another one. And let's get started dredging. Hopefully we can hit something off of this Dark Blast relatively quickly. We will see. Either way, we're just going to pick it up again and draw some more cards. Dredge Dark Blast. Dredge Stinkweed Imp. Sweet. We're not getting back the prized amalgams yet, but we did get deeper into the deck at least, and we found a Thrilling Discovery. If I was a bit better at playing Magic, I would have just drawn the first one because I already knew there was a Thrilling Discovery on top and then started dredging after that, I think. But I did not consider that at the time. Is our opponent going to... Okay, they play Teferi. I thought they were going to Timely Reinforcements for just life. That would have been kind of insane. Alright, that makes Dark Blast much worse. They play out Dwarven Mine, alright. We don't have any more dredgers, so if we hit a land, we can kill a dwarf and then start doing things from there, possibly. We draw Silver Smote Ghoul. Let's just get into our deck further. It's relatively unlikely that they're just going to find another Creativity soon, so let's play proactively. Because we're so light on dredgers, I don't think I want to get rid of the Ghoul here. Maybe I do? Yeah, let's ditch the Ghoul, get it into our graveyard. Hopefully we find a Creeping Chill. Dark Blasts. Okay, we found a Creeping Chill, so that means we're going to get the Ghoul back, and then that's going to activate the prized amalgams, and we'll put 12 power into play. We also got a Conflag, which is nice. They might give us the line to finish off our opponent here if they don't Heart of the Cards Lore Hold into play and then just kill us over the course of several turns. Alright, what you got, opponent? We're going to be putting some prized amalgams into play after your opportunity to cast Anger of the Gods is already gone. Please don't have Creativity. I'll be very sad. Oh no. Alright, so we're at 24, and Lore Hold is a big boy, but we might be able to luck through this. We will see. When it finds the first time warp, all right, we go down to 18. We get back the amalgams. They hit us with Lorehold again. Please, no time warps. They cast another time warp. They cast another time warp from there, and that kills us, so we'll concede. All right, so luckily, even if I had Dark Blasted their guy, it wouldn't have really mattered. So I didn't really misplay that one that bad. Do I want more Thought Seizes? I think I might. Let's bring in one more Thoughtseize, cut one more Thug. Do it like that. My computer is starting to run Moto a little bit slower because of just lag from playing a bunch of games in a row. This hand is a little risky, but I have Otherworldly Gaze and I have a Rainbow land. So if I find another land, I have a pretty good setup for Thrilling Discovery, Stinky, Golgari Thug, and I'm on the play. So if I get a decent board early like that, they don't get to Anger of the Gods until I've hit them at least once. Okay, let's try it out. Keeping the one-lander. Come on, Otherworldly Gaze, give us the goods. I'm gonna play Scalding Tarn. We cast Otherworldly Gaze in their second main. We take one to City or Brass. We find a Gemstone Mine. Excellent. Graveyard, graveyard, top. We draw Gemstone Mine, we play it. We play Thrilling Discovery. Tap for a white, tap for a red. Alright, come on, deck. Give it to us. Yes. Discard Stinky, discard Thug. Dredge Stinky. Dredge Thug. Dredge Stinky. Creeping Chill Narcomoeba. That gets back our prized amalgams and a Silver Smoke Ghoul. Okay, that was a pretty decent turn. I'm happy with it. What you got, opponent? They are cracking Scalding Tarn down to 19. We also have Conflag in our graveyard, which is pretty neat. End of turn, we get back our amalgams and our ghoul. We have 10 power in play. Our opponent is on turn 2 currently. And we have another Thrilling Discovery, so if they Anger of the Gods us, we can probably set up for a good turn again. Plus we can Conflag them this turn if we want to. I don't think I necessarily want to play the Conflag out though, just because I have Otherworldly Gaze also. Go to combat. Attack for a bunch. Yeah, and if my opponent taps out on their turn, I can Conflag them for lethal. So let's just pass. That's actually a fantastic setup. Because even if they find their Anger of the Gods, I have enough cards in hand to just dome them for a bunch with Conflagrate. Like, they can play Exhaustion, or they can play Anger of the Gods and I'm still good. Opponent Growth Spirals. Hopefully they don't have the Velomachus combo already, that'd be very sad. They have Anger of the Gods. Alright, we got there. Because they do not have free spells, because Modern Horizons 2 and Modern Horizons 1 are not in this format. Get back Narcomoeba. Dredge, Dark Blast. Creeping Chill. Apparently we're Creeping Chilling for the win here. Hooray! Alright, cool. Alright, round 1 of the Pure Modern top 8. We are against Rakdos, and we won the die roll. So our opponent has a Hidetsugu Consumes All and a couple Blood Moons and some Thoughtseize effects that they could interact with us in game 1. And in game 2, they have in their sideboard Necromentia as 2 copies of Unlicensed Hearse, and 1 more Hidetsugu. So hopefully we'll just be able to get there against this Rakdos midrange deck. I'm going to mulligan this since we don't have any looting effects. There's a decent chance they're just going to Thoughtseize it away from us anyway, but I'd like to reduce those odds if I can. Opponent mulligans to 6. We're going to keep this one. We're going to get rid of the Ox, I suppose. Alright, City Brass, pass the turn. Wish we had something to do with our mana on turn 1, but that is fine. Our opponent didn't Thoughtseize us, that's what really counts here. We draw another Stinkweed Imp. Alright, so since I have double Stinkweed Imp, I'm just going to go straight for that, discarding both of those and trying to get as many cards in the graveyard as possible, instead of getting rid of a prized amalgam and just hoping to hit more stuff. Yes, I'll use Thrilling Discovery's ability, discard you, Dredge Stinky, Dredge Dark Blast. Hooray! Alright, so what do we bring in game 2? Definitely Gemstone Caverns. Dark Blast hits Dark Confidant, but that's it, which is weird. I'm used to loving Dark Blast against Rakdos because of Ragavans. Let's see. It might be correct to bring in the Leylines. Is it worth bringing in Leylines and just ignoring Hidetsugu Consumes All and Unlicensed Hearse? It might be, because Hidetsugu is on a delay, and the Leylines mean that we're more likely to be able to both fight through Necromentia and fight through Thoughtseize effects. So I think that's what I'm leaning towards. Let's cut 2 copies of Dark Blast. Bring in 3 Leyline of Sanctity. cut maybe one more Dark Blast. I don't know. Let's cut a Blackcleave Cliff since we're cutting down on Dark Blasts. And I don't want to cut too far down on Dredgers because I feel like I keep getting myself owned by doing that. So let's see. I think Conflag comes out here and we keep the Oxen. Let's do it like that. Young Dingo is also just a really good modern player that I've run into a handful of times. So although I don't know anything about them personally, I've played against that username plenty of times. Alright, we could keep a Leyline and nothing, but I don't think that's right, so let's mulligan. This hand has one land, which is a Blackcleave Cliff, so it can't cast Otherworldly Gaze, so I think we got a mulligan, unfortunately. Oh my god. We can't find lands anymore. So we're gonna mulligan to 4 for sure. Bad situation all around. Alright, we're keeping this shit. Otherworldly Gaze, Mana Confluence. Might as well keep Leyline of Sanctity because these other ones aren't good in our hand. Might as well keep Dark Blast, I guess. Get rid of you. Done. Leyline into play. Alright, what you got, opponent? People were so not prepared for graveyard stuff in this format compared to what I think they should be. We found a second land. Fantastic. That means we can just look for a Thrilling Disco or a Cathartic here. And they didn't have Unlicensed Hearse, at least that we know of. We found the Cathartic Reunion. Let's get rid of Otherworldly Gaze and Gemstone Mine from the top of our deck. Put you on top. Oh, we can't cast it yet. Alright, so we're going to have to flashback Otherworldly Gaze here, unfortunately. We just mulliganed too far. Definitely worth keeping for the Leyline of Sanctity, but still. They could play a Hidetsugu Consumes All here, and then that'd be pretty bad for us. Blood Moon is not bad for us, at least. They play Liliana the Last Hope. That's fine. Since they didn't play Hidetsugu and they didn't play Blood Moon, that makes me think that they just don't have them yet. And this gives us a bit more time to set up for a good Cathartic Reunion. Let's get rid of Narcomoeba, Ox. Do I want to draw Cliffs? Not really. I'm just going to ditch it to Cathartic anyway. Put you in the graveyard as well. Yeah, we'll get back to Narco. The Ox gives us a direction to go in eventually. We found another Dredger, thank God. Alright. Let's see what we can do. Discard Thug, discard Blast. Dredge Thug. Dredge Blast. We get a Creeping Chill, but that's all the Dredgers we have. And we just regular draw a dude, unfortunately. Alright, I'm going to just attack their face with the Narcomoeba. They can kill Narco with Lily anyway, but that doesn't really matter. Because I'm gonna cast Ox from my graveyard next turn. And then Dredge a bunch again. We draw. City Brass. Okay, we'll play you. Play Ox. Our opponent did not keep any graveyard hate. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I guess we got to get rid of Otherworldly Gaze. Okay, so we'll have one Gaze left in our graveyard, and then whatever we dredge. And I think this is already game, because I don't think they're going to be able to remove enough of our stuff. They don't have Anger of the Gods. God help them if they're just going to try to Fatal Push these creatures away. Dredge Thug. Dredge Stinky. Dredge Blast. Okay. That was a whole lot of nothing. That was 4 Thrilling Discoveries off the top of our deck in a row. That's kind of weird. But we found another Ox at least, so if we run out of steam somehow, we'll be able to keep going. And we should still be pretty much fine, since we're getting back a bunch of prized amalgams now. Yep. All the zombies. Hooray for the zombies. Opponent kills our Narcomoeba. Okie dokie. And, okay. GG's to our opponent. That was a very fast one, but I don't blame them, given the scenario. I'll see you in the next one, I guess. Alright, we're in the semifinals of the Pure Modern d00mwake tournament. I'm playing against a Grixis Shadow deck. Our opponent has 4 Stubs, 4 Thoughtseize, a set of Drown in the Lock in their main deck. Sideboard, they have... What the fuck? They don't have any Surgical Extractions? Alright. They have 2 Spell Pierces, a Negate, and I guess Aether Gust that they could bring in the sideboard? Alright. We have Thrilling Discovery, Blast, Golg, Thug. Let's keep this hand. We also have a reasonable amount of lands with all of our colors, which is fantastic. Alright, let's see. Let's just start off with Cliffs Go. If they Thoughtseize away our Thrilling Discovery, that'll be unfortunate, but we're at least in a spot where we can just top deck another one of those and be fine again. Opponent gets a Watery Grave, goes down to 17. Thoughtseizes us, alright. They're going to take Thrilling Discovery, I'm sure. They go down to 15. We draw. Another Cathartic, please. Creeping Chill, not what we wanted. Play Mana Confluence, pass the turn. Alright, so if they play a creature, we can Dark Blast it to start milling a little bit. Otherwise, we can just wait and eventually draw a Cathartic and try to cast those. Opponent plays a Bloodstained Mire, alright. They have 4 copies of Death Shadow, 4 copies of Ledger Shredder, 4 copies of Gurmag Angler, and 1 Croxa as their big scary boys. It's unfortunate that we drew a Creeping Chill there because I think one of the secret advantages that we have for this matchup is our opponent dealing a bunch of damage to themselves and then us just milling Creeping Chills. Alright, we can cast Thrilling Discovery here. They can't stub it unless they have double stub, and they can't drown the locket. So let's go for it. Do you have an answer, opponent? Opponent Thought Scours. Okay. Opponent cracks a Bloodstained Mire, down to 14. Gets a Steam Fence, goes down to 12. Alright. Greedy. Casts a Thought Scour on themselves. Okay. Yes. Golg, Dark Blast. Dredge Thug. Dredge Dark Blast. We ran out of Dredgers, but we saw a Creeping Chill and an Archamoeba, so we get a Prized Amalgam back. That's nice, at least, I guess. And we found Otherworldly Gaze as well, so that's something. Not the most exciting situation, though. If they play a creature, I'm just going to Dark Blast it so I can mill a little bit more on my turn, possibly hit an Ox or something. Opponent's at 9. We have 2 Creeping Chills somewhere in our deck, so if we get them down to 6, which they might do on their own, they'll be in the danger zone. And then we can technically just hardcast this Creeping Chill if they tap out. We have enough mana for it. Opponent plays Ledger Shredder, alright. Opponent plays Death Shadow, alright. So we can Dark Blast up to 3 times, which unfortunately does not kill anything, really. So I think I am just going to go Dark Blast on a creature to get it out of my hand. Possibly Dredge some more, because hitting an Ox would be fantastic. Hitting another Creeping Chill would be great, too. Dredge Blast. We find Narcomoeba and 2 Prized Amalgams. Awesome. Yes. We get back the Prized Amalgams. Or at least we will in a second. We go to combat. Do I attack with both or just Amalgam? I think I attack with just the Amalgam. It's going to come back anyway, and I can Dark Blast to kill the creature that blocks it, if something does block it. Opponent takes it. Alright. We'll just pass. Opponent casts Expressive Iteration. Looks like the Desperation play. They possibly... I guess they can't because they only have the 1 Death Shadow, but I was thinking if they have Temur Battle Rage, they might have been able to deal a lot of damage to me. But it looks like they don't play... Yeah, they don't play Temur Battle Rage anyway, so that's fine. They don't have them in the sideboard either. Shadow decks should always have at least 1 TBR in a world that... Like Gurmag Angler, alright. If we're in a world where they mill stub, okay. Or they discard stub with Ledger Shredder, rather. Alright, if I can get my words out without getting distracted now. If we're in a situation where Dress Down doesn't exist, Shadow decks should have at least 1 Temur Battle Rage just somewhere in there to keep people honest. It's very powerful. Alright, well that's Otherworldly Gaze. See if we can get more of a board. We find another Gaze, which we can go ahead and flashback now. Graveyard, Graveyard, Graveyard. Flashback Gaze, it's going to give them another Shredder trigger, but hopefully that doesn't matter. Blue, blue. I'm curious if they're going to crack their Scalding Tarn. They don't have a mountain, so they'd have to deal damage to themselves. They're going to get an untapped source. They go down to 5 with the Tarn. Interesting. They get a Watery Grave tapped. All right. I think that means we win because we attack with everything in play. We get an Archamoeba as well. That's nice. We attack with everybody. They take 2, and then we just hardcast Creeping Chill. Easy peasy. Or they take 3 now because of the Narcomoebas. Don't have any Dredgers in our graveyard. We draw Ox. Sad. Right, go to combat. Attack with the team. Opponent blocks, and opponent blocks. Okay. Goes to 2, and... Creeping Chill! Hooray! Hardcast Creeping Chill! Alright. What do we want to bring in? We want Gemstone Caverns for sure. Dark Blast fucking sucks in this matchup. And I guess we just want Leyline of Sanctities the same way that we played against Rakdos. Conflag, well, they're gonna have a low life total, so Conflag is kind of interesting, I guess. Let's cut the Blackcleave Cliffs. Do I cut one more Dark Blast or something else? Let's cut a Ghoul. I don't want to cut Ox, and Ghoul is a a bit harder to get in with than average against large blocking creatures like they have here. We have Cathartic, we don't have any Dredgers, and we have Leyline. I got a mulligan this, unfortunately. We also have 2 cards that we'd rather have in our deck. Opponent mulligans to 5. We put Narcomoeba on the bottom. We're looking for Dredger, and we're looking for a land. That's not worth keeping. Let's mulligan. Alright, this hand doesn't really get hit by Thoughtseize, I guess. We kind of want all these in the graveyard, so we'll just keep. Let's ditch. What? I kind of like that we can cast the Stinkweed Imps. Let's ditch Conflag so we know that that's on the bottom. Oh, damn it. Oh, we ditched 2 cards. Never mind. And Silver Smoke Ghoul. Stinkweed Imp, actually, because they don't have any exile effects, seems kind of nuts against them. Likely they're going to Thoughtseize me on turn 1, so they have interaction, and then I'm just going to discard a Stinkweed Imp and start dredging. That's kind of funny. Looks like they're not playing anything on turn 1. They mulligan down to 4. Holy shit, I didn't even notice that. And we draw a Leyline, always on time. Of course, play Canal, pass the turn. So now they can Thoughtseize our Leyline and not set us up with the Imp. But we're still in a decent spot overall, especially since they mulligan so much, my god. Let's see what they do on turn 2. They didn't fetch, so they're looking for another land. We draw. Cathartic would be cool. Please Cathartic. They could stub it, but I would still be discarding my Stinkweed Imps, and that's at least nice. We draw Narcomoeba. Not exciting. Not exciting, the Narcomoeba. I will cast it, I guess, but I won't be happy about it. I'm going to complain a lot while I'm doing it, in fact. We have a board. Opponent plays an island. So they found their second land. They're still not playing anything, though. We draw Blackcleave Cliffs. All right, we're going to cast a Stinkweed Imp this turn, and we're just going to start turning our guys sideways, I guess. Attack with Narco. Play Cliffs. Play Stinkweed Imp. If they don't Thoughtseize me this coming turn and I still don't draw anything really, I'm going to probably just cast Leyline of Sanctity to turn off their targeted discard again. But we'll see what happens. This is not the ideal Dredge hand, I gotta say. Opponent goes down to 16, cracking their Bloodstained Mire for a Blood Crypt. Did they find a third land? They Thoughtseize us. Okay, gonna take Leyline, I assume. Yep, makes sense. It'd be weird to take Stinkweed Imp. Hopefully we draw a Cathartic effect right now because they just have Stub up and it's kind of perfect. We draw Stinkweed Imp. Alright, it's combat time. Getting in. I'm gonna leave Gemstone Mine in my hand and just cast out Stinkweed Imp. There's a decent chance that they Thoughtseize me again, although it's kind of unlikely. But if they don't have anything else to do, they'll probably Thoughtseize me, and then they're forced to take Stinkweed Imp. And I'm leaving the Gemstone Mine in my hand so that if I draw Disco or Cathartic Reunion, I can just discard 2 cards and play that. This is not the way we drew up the game plan, I gotta say. Opponent plays Ledger Shredder. Okay. We draw City of Brass. Okay. They know about Gemstone Mine, so I'm gonna play that one out. How do I attack here? I kind of want to keep the other Stinkweed Imp in my hand in case I draw a Looter. Let's just attack with 1 Stinkweed Imp. Keep pressuring our opponent. Make it so that less Creeping Chills are required to kill them. I can't imagine we go all the way with the Stinkweed Imps, but I guess it's technically possible. I really hope that they Thoughtseize me. They play another Ledger Shredder. Thoughtseize me. Thoughtseize me, please. Opponent passes. We draw. Creeping Chill. Okay. Attack with Stinkweed Imp. I guess I just cast a Creeping Chill, since this is apparently how this match is going for me. Keeping the Stinkweed Imp in my hand still. Opponent goes down to 7. Opponent plays a Death Shadow. Who could have seen that coming? But now if they answer a Stinkweed Imp to get Death Shadow through, I get to Dredge. And that's pretty cool. We draw City of Brass. This game sucks. Oh my god. Alright, opponent takes the 1. We cast a Stinkweed Imp. Alright. Still keeping the extra cards in hand so that I can possibly Cathartic, because I think they might kill a Stinkweed Imp soon. I guess we'll see. Opponent attacks with Death Shadow. I will block the fuck out of that with Stinkweed Imp. Believe you me. Alright, we're gonna dredge Stinkweed Imp. It only took till turn 8, but we are dredging this game. And thank God. We found a Creeping Chill, we found Narcomoeba, we found Prized Amalgam. Alright, we're in a good spot now. Finally, we can start closing this game out. Jesus. Alright. That game was awful. We got there, but still. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. All right, we're in finals of the Pure Modern tournament. I'm playing against another Shadow deck. It looks like pretty much the exact same one as before. I'm not sure if it's exactly the same, but there's a similar lack of interaction in the sideboard. And we have turn 1 Otherworldly Gaze into Cathartic or Thrilling Discovery. Unfortunate that we have Creeping Chill already, but I think I keep this. We should be able to find Dredgers pretty quickly with this current hand. They're going to have some amount of Thought Seizes, Stubs, and Drown in the Lock that they can interact with in game 1. We'll see how they put that to use. Opponent plays Polluted Delta, cracks it for Watery Grave, it goes to 17, and Thought Seizes us on turn 1. I assume they take Otherworldly Gaze since that's our turn 1 play. I can't imagine they take Silver Smote Ghoul, and it's possible that they take Disco or Cathartic if they have more Thought Seizes in their hand. Okay, they take Cathartic, interesting. I think Gaze was the right thing for them to take there. We're going to play Spire Bluff. I think I just cast Gaze now. Let's get rid of Ox, Graveyard, City Brass, Graveyard, Otherworldly Gaze, Graveyard. No triggers, unfortunately, but we knew it was going to resolve at least. Opponent goes to 13, plays Ledger Shredder, okie dokie. And we haven't found any Dredgers yet, so we might wind up playing Otherworldly Gaze from our graveyard instead of playing Thrilling Discovery here. Opponent discards a Ledger Shredder, does not use Mishra's Bauble yet. We draw Stinkweed Imp, I'm going for the Thrilling Disco for sure. Draw Prized Amalgam. Not very sexy. Let's just go for Otherworldly Gaze now, since we don't have any Dredgers. Golgari Thug, Graveyard. Conflag, Graveyard. Blackcleave Cliffs, Graveyard. Alright, what's our opponent got this turn? They attack for 2, makes sense. We go down to 18, that's fine. We dredge Golgari Thug. We see an Ox, Stinkweed Imp, Dark Blasts. Okay. So they probably have Counter Magic up. What we're going to do is Conflag, targeting Shredder 4 times. And we're going to discard all these cards. Actually, we're going to go and one at you. And get rid of the Creeping Chill too so that we can feed the Ox. Okay. Red, red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opponent stubs, that's fine. Opponent attacks for 2 with Ledger Shredder. Okie dokie. They tap out. Tap out. They play Gurmag. That means we get to resolve Ox. Excellent. Alright, I think that means that we just have an opening and get to win here. We dredge Stinkweed Imp, get an Archamoeba. Okay. Yes, that triggers Prized Amalgam, but we're going to get that back anyway with Ox in a second. Cast Ox. Red, red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Done. Dredge Stinky. Dredge Stinky. Dredge Thug. Yes. And our opponent's still at 13, so they can't cast their Death Shadows if they have them yet. Hooray! Got them. Alright, next one. Begin sideboarding. We're gonna bring in Gemstone Cavern. I'm gonna consult their sideboard again to make sure, and I'm probably gonna bring in all the ley lines again, because that seemed to work last time just fine. Cut a couple of Dark Blasts, cut a Silver Smoke Ghoul, cut... Did I cut an Ox or a Conflag? Oh, I didn't cut either. I cut a Cliffs. That's what I did, because it's a land. Alright, running it back that way. We have Leyline of Sanctity, we have no Dredgers, and we have a Thrilling Discovery. Do I keep this? I think I will, just because Leyline is so good. Found a second Thrilling Discovery, that's great. Let's go Mana Confluence pass so it looks like we're holding up Otherworldly Gaze. Opponent cracks Bloodstained Mire, gets an untapped Watery Grave, goes to 17, plays Polluted Delta, cracks it, gets an untapped Blood Crypt, plays Ledger Shredder. Alright, please Stinkweed Imp or really any Dredger here. Nothing. Huh. Alright, we're just going to cast the value Thrilling Discovery, I guess. Yes. Discard. Prized Amalgam, discard. Gemstone Mine. Ah, that sucks. Found another Creeping Chill that we drew. We found an Archamoeba that we drew, and we found an Ox that we drew. Not happy about that, for sure. Opponent plays Mishra's Bauble. Hits us for 1 with Ledger Shredder. All the way down to 20. Opponent cracks Mishra's Bauble on themselves, since they can't target me. And we draw Gemstone Caverns. Interesting. Let's play Gemstone Caverns. Let's just cast a Narcomoeba. We need to wait for them to give us an opening and for us to draw a Dredger. If we just draw Stinkweed Imp, I might just cast it out. We'll see what happens. We're getting kind of close to just being able to cast Ox also, which is nice. Opponent goes to 12. So they can cast Shadows now. They have 6 cards in hand. We take 1. We draw. What? Mana Confluence. Okay. Let's go to combat for 1. Yep. Do I just cast a Creeping Chill or do I cast Thrilling Discovery here? I think I just cast a Creeping Chill. Do I? They're probably going to cast some amount of Shadows. Thrilling Discovery lets me at least dig further for some sort of meaningful card to play. And I might get a counterspell out of their hand, where I don't think Creeping Chill would. Yeah, that looks like a Drown in the Lock to me. Opponent plays Drown. Alright. Opponent Thought Scours, gets a Ledger Shredder trigger. Okie dokie. Yeah, the no Dredgers maybe was not worth keeping. I stand by my decisions, though. I think this Leyline of Sanctity's done a lot of work based on how much mana they keep leaving up. Opponent plays a 2/2 Death Shadow. Oh, okie dokie. They have 4 cards in hand. We draw Mana Confluence. Let's play Ox. Opponent plays Ether Gust. We'll put it on top, I guess. We're not going to attack with the Narcomoeba since they have Death Shadow. Opponent goes to 8. Alright. Opponent plays Expressive Iteration. Alright. So we know we're not going to draw a Dredger next turn since we have the Ox instead. I guess technically it's possible our opponent just somehow puts themselves to 4 and we get to hit them with Narcomoeba and kill them with Creeping Chill, but that seems incredibly unlikely. They definitely think that we have Dredgers in our hand though, because they've countered the last 2 discard effects that we've had, so that's interesting. Maybe I should have put Ox on the bottom to try to draw a Stinkweed Imp. I think on top is still better in general. Opponent exiles a Thoughtseize. Gets a Swamp. Alright. Thoughtseizes themselves. We get to see what's in their hand. That's interesting. Expressive Drown in the Lock. That's not what we wanted to see. Opponent goes to 5. They Drown in the Lock our Narcomoeba. And we're dead. Alright. Alright. We're going to run that back, minus the Gemstone Caverns for Blackleaf Cliffs. Submit. Alright. No more goofing around for us. We got to take this seriously, I suppose. Our opponent did play very well there. The Thoughtseize themselves to get the extra damage was pretty hot, especially since we had lands that we had to tap and pay mana to get mana from, or pay life to get mana from, rather. Mulligan. Alright, this is a keep. We have Leyline again. We actually have a Thrilling Discovery. Let's get rid of one of the City of Brass, put Leyline into play, and hope that our opponent doesn't have Stub up on turn 1. Play Blackleaf Cliffs, pass the turn. I almost passed the turn without playing a land because I spaced out a little bit there. That would have been unfortunate. We draw Golgari Thug. Alright. Do you have a stub? Looks like they do. Okay. Opponent untaps, plays Blood Crypt, shocks it in. We draw Blackleaf Cliffs. Okay. We're going to cast Silver Smoke Ghoul. If they play a creature, we can target it with Dark Blast and start milling ourselves a little bit. And now we have a Ghoul as well, which is nice. Opponent plays Expressive Iteration. Okay. Looks like they're tapping out or possibly just digging for a land here. Since we have an extra land anyway, even if they have a stub, we should be able to resolve a Cathartic effect if we draw one. We draw Gemstone Mine. Not exactly what we wanted. Let's attack with Ghoul. Play Gemstone Mine. Pass the turn. We might wind up hard casting Ox again at some point this game, so I want to get my lands into play while I can. Opponent plays Ledger Shredder. Alright. They're looking for a land. They put the counter on Shredder. Okay. They play Bloodstained Mire, cracking it, down to 11. They get a Watery Grave, go down to 9. Get a Death Shadow. Okay. And they bobble themselves. I think I need to go for a draw here to just try to hit a Discovery. Alright, let's go to combat first. Blocks with Shredder. Alright. Play Cathartic, discard. Dredge Thug. Dredge Stinky. Dredge Dark Blast. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. We're getting 1 Silver Smoke Ghoul back. That's not very exciting. I could force them to discard a spell, but they probably have Thoughtseizes anyway. I could play out Thug. Then I can block Death Shadow with Thug, but then I can't Dark Blast anything. Let's just pass. I think I'm going to play Stinkweed Imp next turn. This way we can leave up Dark Blast in case we wind up wanting to play it, and I can also possibly pop Silver Smoke Ghoul to draw a card if I think that's necessary. I'm going to make sure that they don't have TBRs. It looks like they do not. So we're just going to take this. Opponent passes. We dredge Dark Blast. We find an Otherworldly Gaze. Let's attack for 3 with the Ghoul. Looks like they have a Drown on the Lock in their hand. They're considering drowning the Ghoul. They do drown the Ghoul. Alright, we don't have any dredgers in our graveyard anyway, so I think I'm going to let that resolve and just go for the Stinkweed Imp, because I want to get this Stinkweed Imp in my graveyard. At least this is a more interesting matchup than the last one that I had. Drown the Lock, okie dokie. If they have double kill spell, I might be dead here. We'll see, I guess. They have 3 cards in hand. Let's pass. Opponent attacks. We will chump block the Death Shadow this time. For sure. Opponent plays a Death Shadow. Makes sense. And passes. Alright. We dredge Stinkweed Imp. Come on, double Creeping Chill. There's 1 Creeping Chill. Okay. That gets back the Silver Smoke Ghoul, although that still doesn't do much yet. Opponent's at 3. What are my best odds? If I chump block 1 Death Shadow and they don't have any removal spells, I could still possibly win this. I can see 8 cards from the top of my deck by popping Silver Smoke Ghoul and flashing back Otherworldly Gaze. Let's pass. I'm going to wait until they tap their mana down to do anything. Ooh, this is a tight one. I could also flash back Dark Blast to remove some damage, which is kind of interesting. Opponent plays Mishra's Bauble, stubs their own Mishra's Bauble. Gets a Shredder trigger. Opponent taps 2. Untaps. They have 3 mana currently. They have 1 more card in hand. Expressive Iteration, it looks like. So Expressive Iteration on the stack. I guess I still wait until they find a kill spell. It's possible that I'm letting them interact by stubbing Otherworldly Gaze. But they're going all in for the kill here, so we'll have to see what happens. They already played a land. Ooh, this is a stressful one. Opponent finds a stub. Looks like they did not find the kill spell that they were looking for. So we know they have a Stubborn Denial. Let's black. Pop Silver Smoke Ghoul. Dredge Stinky. Get a Creeping Chill, hooray! Alright, well sweet. I'm super happy with that. Well, that went extremely well. Thank you to everyone who voted what type of deck I should play. It definitely worked out. If you want to see more matches of this event, check out d00mwake's video on it or the VOD from his Twitch. And if you want to see more of this Dredge deck, I have a deck tech with it on my channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Hey everyone, Shoenice again. Well, basically, go subscribe to Tezzey's YouTube channel. And for those who made it to the end of the video, thank you.